I have no problems with Chun-Li. So I think, as he says, I agree with him. The problem is when it happens because the writer has a chip on the shoulder to trying to push a message. And you can see it. We can see it right through them.
Her husband literally dies, and she goes, cool, I'm going feral now. And grieving? Yes. Stunning? Yes. Horse girl? Absolutely. But I would let her run
There's plenty of examples of that in history, like Boudica, right? Like, that's the first one I can think of. I mean, it's a messy history, right? But, like, and there are examples of this where it happens. So true, yeah.
Over with that horse.
You know what I did when I played? Because I finished The Last of Us 2, guys. I finished The Last of Us 2. You know what I did? I hated Abby so much, mostly because of what she does earlier on in the game. Don't want to spoil. But I hated Abby so much that when I was forced by the silly writers of the game to play as Abby for a freaking 8 hours, whatever the heck it was, I kept jumping off cliffs. That's what I did.
Chloe Frazer from Uncharted. She's flirty and morally flexible and somehow still makes betrayal feel hot. Tifa Lockhart from Final Fantasy. She could literally take...
Okay, round of applause for Tifa. Please write W in chat for Tifa Lockhart. Where is she? Wait, I need her right now.
Hot. Tifa Lockhart.
Round of applause for Tifa. Tifa is based. By the way, Tifa is a martial artist. Isn't she the only character in Final Fantasy VII, at least the original, that fights fists? And yet it worked perfectly. Everyone else is a weapon for what I remember, including the other girls and the guys. But Tifa is great. Tifa is fantastic. Also because she is, to be honest, conventionally attractive. Nothing wrong, by the way, with being attracted to a beautiful woman, and nothing wrong to be attracted to a handsome man. What is insane is when they try to take something that is hardwired in our biology to find certain features with a margin of difference between people, of course, but in general we are attracted to certain features because they are connected to fertility, health, and then personal preference with a certain level of cultural influence onto our preferences. But in general, there's nothing wrong with being attracted to beauty. There's nothing wrong with beauty. Nothing wrong with it.
Lockhart from Final Fantasy. She could literally take down a behemoth in one hit and then quietly make you some soup and ask if you've been sleeping okay. But when I think about just well-written women in games, what's interesting is some of gaming's best women were not even the protagonists, but they were the scene stealers. Ciri from The Witcher 3 is quite literally the entire reason that Geralt is risking his life across these war-torn kingdoms, and she's this complicated, beautiful, just wild young girl who's somehow still more mature than everyone else around her. Or Yuna from Final Fantasy X, this graceful, selfless, and devastating character who's literally carrying the hopes of an entire world on her back.
And I think also, like, especially whenever you have action games, there's like a certain degree of like just historically, right? I mean, men usually fight for and defend women. This is usually what happens because of biology and about 5,000 to 10,000 years of history, probably longer than that.
Longer than that.
And so this story makes a lot more sense because this is always the way things have been. And also you have examples, from Final Fantasy XIV, you know, Yashlada or like any of the other characters on there. Many of the female characters were written extremely well, but they weren't the exact same as the male characters.
Yeah.
And then she's still
I will add, guys, and this is, again, there is the other perspective too, but I want to speak about my perspective. I honestly think, historically, but even today, when a man has the support of a good woman and a good wife, he will, to use a word, be empowered to move mountains. It's just how we function. Just sharing my opinion.
Apologizes when she inconveniences you, and if that's not being a girl, I don't know what is. And while Western games are nervously nerfing kind of every trace of femininity from their female characters, Eastern devs are like,
that's exactly it. They don't want to make feminine characters because they feel like feminine characters are diminutive. That's the problem.
That is so insulting, personally. The women is so insulting.
I think it's weird because, like, is this like some form of like internalized misogyny that like women have against themselves?
Once again, I would say activists. I wouldn't say women, but sure.
In a way, it feels that way.
Here's a mysterious woman who could kill you and make you cry about it. You're welcome. Capcom? They've been in their iconic woman era since like forever. Resident Evil is one of my all-time favorite series, and Jill is tactical, calm, and easily has the cleanest bob in gaming. Ada is mysterious, stylish, and she might lie to your face, but she's still gonna get a fan cam. Claire is this beautiful, kind, capable woman who takes zero nonsense.
Yeah, she is based, by the way. I understand why she's getting 100,000 subscribers, apart from the fact that, of course, it's due to the spotlight that she got from Asmongold. We discussed that, but she deserves it. She's really good. One thing I want to say is we are in a situation where, unless we look at indie games, when we look at AAA, I'm generalizing, but we are in a position where now Eastern developers, mostly in Asia, create the best women online for video games, and Western developers in AAA are losing it. It's a shame, but likely indie games, I think, will save it. Indie games will save it. And it's so funny when people go with the disingenuous route that they tell me, oh, well, why don't you watch Prawn then? Are you gonna do this? Are you gonna do that to the image? You need to be the prawn star and whatnot. No, you're being stupid, because I can appreciate the attractiveness of a woman without having to necessarily connect. If you have a problem in your head, if that's how you think things work, of course I'm physically attracted by beautiful women, obviously, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I'm some kind of maniacal degenerate now just because I'm saying, man, this woman is objectively gorgeous, or I'm attracted by this woman. It's ridiculous. You know why? Because if you think that that's intrinsically wrong, then how did you come into existence, you absolute idiot? To the hypothetical idiot, that is.
And Lady D had like 10 minutes of screen time in Village,
she's really
and she
hot.
Still owned Halloween for like the next 2 years. They're hot. They're cool. They've got so much range. And you remember
it's the entire premise that, like, well, what women really want to play is they want to play an aggressive, masculine, ugly woman that's unlikable, that tries to pretend to be a man and is simultaneously flawless, but has these obvious flaws as well that don't matter, that are actually good things. It's like basically the way that they write women characters, it's almost like whenever it's like it's as dishonest as whenever you answer the question on a resume, what's your biggest weakness? It's like, I try too hard. That's basically it.
That's a fun way to put it.
Or you just kind of want them to emotionally damage you just a little bit. It's the same kind of energy with Monster Hunter Wilds. They dropped a couple of composed, stunning women, and the internet instantly started to cosplay. And graceful, and they've just got that.
Well, and it's also that, like, even the woman, I forgot her name in Monster Hunter Wilds, like, there's nothing that's, like, diminutive or whatever or negative about her. It's nothing weird. It's just simply a story, and it's normal.
About them. And that's why the boys are in love, the girls are in love, and I am in love. And then we've got From Software, who just casually releases the most haunting, elegant women in modern gaming like it's nothing. The doll from Bloodborne, our favorite Victorian comfort character. She's soft-spoken, she's gentle, and she definitely knows more than she's letting on.
And she's a sex doll. That Gurman made of another girl that he liked.
Oh, gosh.
Or Lady Maria, tragic, terrifying character with perfect posture, and 10 out of 10, I would let her fight me again. Or Ronnie from Elden Ring, who I was quite literally on my knees for.